The one thing that can really kill props is blowouts, because you're not going to just continue to hammer your star players if you're up by, 3 touchdowns. So usually if game script is involved and a team is winning, you would want to play the running back, because you're going to run the ball, try to wear down the clock. Christian McCaffrey has had over 100 yards on the ground in each of the first 2 games. It feels like at some point he's not going to have 100 yards on the ground, just because that's a really high number. I think his number's in the 70s for tonight's game. Do you think that's a better play? Maybe playing Christian McCaffrey and his rushing prop?
Yes, I love that prop. I was going to ask you about this because I don't know what to think here. This doesn't make sense to me. This prop is so low. It should not be this low at all. Right now, his rushing prop is set at 80 and a hook. And 99% of the money is on the over. So I don't know. Christian McCaffrey has been awesome thus far. James Conner rushed for 106 yards last week against the Giants. Like, Christian McCaffrey has had 100 yards and at least 20 carries in both games this season. The Giants are not a good football team. Why wouldn't Christian McCaffrey crush this number? I'm just stunned. It seems way too low to me, and it seems fishy. Or is this just easy money?
Well, maybe it's based on season averages last year, because, again, he's probably not going to rush for 100 yards each and every game. And also, think about it. If it's a blowout, wouldn't you probably take some of your star players out? Because imagine if Christian McCaffrey gets hurt in the fourth quarter of a game where you're up 21 points, that's a bad look. So maybe that is your sabotage factor for Christian McCaffrey. I was looking at some receiving props as well, even though it doesn't really go along with the game script. You want to take a running back if a team is going to be blowing out a team. They're trying to chew down the clock, like I said. Brandon Ayuk, questionable for this one, which makes me lean towards Deebo Samuel, my dude. One of the best at getting yards after the catch. So it feels like he can probably pick up some big chunk yardage against this Giants defense that has not been very good.
I'm all over the place today. I'm like the stock market on a crazy day. I'm up, I'm down, I'm all over the place. Who knows where I'm going to be by the end of the show? I have no idea. I like the under too. I want to say that. I like the Niners to win, and I like the under, and I'm calling it 30-7. I'm calling it.
30-7, huh?
Yeah.
You should play an exact score bet. Can you do that?
God.
Why 30 and not 31?
Why not 30? Who knows? Why not?
Why not 22?
Why not? Yeah.
Scoregami.
Yeah. Why not 26? Who knows? It just came to my head. It's like Nick Castellanos, right? He wasn't going to catch that foul ball, and something in his head said, catch this ball and throw it home. So something in my head, I wasn't going to give out an exact score. I still don't know if I'm going to bet it. And something in my head said, do it. Say 30-7. It's going to be 30-7. But I bet I'm wrong.
Would you play Penn State in this game? The hook makes me a little nervous, but I do feel like Penn State is going to have its way with an Iowa team that doesn't have much of an offense.
Yeah, and Penn State's defense has been surprisingly good. I knew it was going to be good this year. I didn't know it would be as good as it's been the first few weeks. You can consider the competition, sure, but the turnover fest that they had in Champaign last week gives me hope that they can do some of the same to Iowa. And that offense, as we know, is no great shakes. So 14.5, though, to your point, Chelsa, is a little steep. It's not to say that they couldn't end up covering that number. The atmosphere at Beaver Stadium will be nuts. That's the way it is for a whiteout. It'll be bananas. But they've got to get past this one in order to set themselves up for the trip to Columbus later and then hosting the Wolverines later in the season. This is the first step towards this being a different kind of year in Happy Valley, and different in that they talk about a complete team. They've got the complete team, which actually has the quarterback at the head of the table. So they can win the Big Ten this year. They can beat both Ohio State and Michigan, but if they don't beat Iowa tomorrow night, then none of that means anything. I think they will win the game. 14.5 is a little rich for me. If it were more in the 13-ish, 12.5, 13-ish, but it's not going to come down like that, I don't think.
Chris, when you look at the landscape right now, it's early in the season, but a lot of teams can make a claim for being a top 5 team or a national championship contender, be it Georgia, Florida State, Texas. A lot of teams still out there sort of jockeying. Ohio State's there, Penn State. of all these teams, what is one team that maybe we're not talking about too much that is really good that could make a run? For me, it's Washington. They look exceptional. Yeah. But who do you think it is?
Well, I mean, I think I was going to originally lean towards, say, a Florida State or a Notre Dame, but they're both being talked about plenty, right?
Yeah.
Lots of people had an eye on Florida State coming in this year. I think Notre Dame, for what it's worth, is going to jump up and surprise everybody this weekend against Ohio State. But I think I've been on Oregon State really since last spring or the end of last season. They've got a phenomenal defense, a defense that is right there with Utah in the Pac-12. They went out and got a quarterback in DJU, and they've shown an ability to have a balanced offense, really a balanced team as a whole. And again, the year of the quarterback in college football. DJU doesn't have to throw this team on his shoulders. He can let the defense do their job, right? Some weeks, they're going to be able to score 27 and get out of there with a dub because their defense is going to hold the opposition under that number. So I think Oregon State, you're going to see slowly climb the polls throughout the season, climb the rankings. Washington is another great one. It's hilarious to me that the Pac-12 is looking like the strongest conference right now in the year that it's being torn to bits. But I think you could go with either one of those. And then you've got, another huge game in that conference this weekend in Colorado. I know you guys mentioned Colorado earlier, Colorado, Oregon. I think 3 touchdowns on that game, even if it's in Eugene, that's way too much for me. I think Colorado keeps that close and keeps it uncomfortable for the Ducks. So the Pac-12 is the place to look for teams that aren't getting enough attention. And for my money anyway, it's Oregon State at the top of the pile.
So what does he do? He gathers the media around a few hours later and says, when you take my quote out of context, y'all are trying to split us up at the seams. No one took his quote out of context. No one. A media member said, why do you think this is happening? Open-ended question. You can answer that however you want. And you said, Justin Fields, you said, oh, it could be the coaches. And then the audacity. I absolutely cannot stand when these athletes take the low-hanging fruit, stupid way out, which is so transparent to say, you know what I'll do? I'll just blame the media. You took it out of context. No. You blame the coaches. So accept responsibility for that. And then he said, I'm not blaming the coaches. I'm never going to blame anything on the coaches. I'm never going to blame anything on my teammates. You did blame the coaches. Nobody took anything out of context. So that just drives me crazy. When you heard the question asked, this isn't a snippet, an 8-second snippet that we cut and then put on the air to make him look bad. You heard the whole thing. Nothing was taken out of context. So, yeah, he walked it back. This isn't on the media, though. This is on Justin Fields. Chargers are a fascinating win total, right? Preseason 9.5, now 8.5, over -105, under -115. 77% of the tickets are on the over. Oh, I am going under. Stock up, Justin Herbert, handsome guy. Stock down, Brandon Staley, going to get fired.
Yeah, not looking so good for Brandon Staley. I think the question mark is, can the Chargers hold on to games late in the game? Like, that's the problem. The Chargers keep charging. So if you look at the schedule, they've got the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Bears, the Jets, the Lions, and the Packers. I'm seeing a lot of L's just in that stretch of the game. And plus, like, they still haven't even played the Chiefs twice. Like, that's 2 L's probably right there for the Chargers, even though I will say the Chargers usually play the Chiefs pretty closely. Usually you take them on the spread, not on the money line, but still, no faith in the Chargers for me anymore.
Are they going to lose to the Vikings this weekend?
I don't think so.
This is a must-win game for the Chargers. They're only favored for both, yeah. But relative to expectations, did we expect the Vikings to be good? And by the way, they traded for Cam Akers to be the backup for Alexander Madison. I don't know if that really helps them. But doesn't that seem like a fishy line? Chargers -1?